Gear, and I'm going to be giving you guys a video. This is a response to Review Tech USA's article about how Nintendo is suing HackYourConsole.com. They make flashcards for the 3DS and DS. Now, quick note about this, the 3DS actually is secure. Nintendo's really trying to make sure that even if they lose a lawsuit, no one can hack into it. People were able to slightly hack it, I think a couple months ago, but it's a pretty secure console. So is the PS Vita, as far as I know. They're really trying. I think both Sony and Microsoft saw about how, especially Sony, because I believe the PSP, even though it has very high sales, it has one of the worst software adoption rates of like all time for consoles. It's really bad. I know that I think one week, I think there was like 10 or 15,000 PSP sales, and there were like 2,000 game sales, which, usually there should be, game sales should be theoretically higher than console sales because, you should buy games when you get your console. I mean, it should be at least about a 1-to-1 ratio unless you're bundling games, which I don't think the PSP ever did. But anyway, I want to go over my personal opinion about piracy and region locking. So, for games that are around the N64 era, PS1 era, when they're sold online or below, I really don't think it's okay to pirate them unless they aren't sold in either your territory and it's a fan translation, or if they just don't sell it digitally through either an HD remake or just a straight officially emulated port of the game, like the Virtual Console or like PS1 Classic series on, I believe, the Vita, the PSP, and the PS3. So, also, a Wii is like, I believe they're selling them for either 80 or 90 bucks used at GameStop, and you get them for cheaper online. You buy a Wii, and a Classic controller or GameCube controller, which are like, GameCube controllers I think are about 15 bucks. Classic controllers new are 20, and places are trying to get rid of them. I saw one on Amazon yesterday that was new for 12 bucks. You buy that, you have access to the Nintendo 64, the Super Nintendo, the NES, quite a few arcade games, and the Sega Genesis, and I believe they have some Master System games, but not a ton. So you have access to 5 consoles. Oh yeah, and the TurboGrafx 16 I believe is on there. So you have access to like 5 consoles just from that one, plus you're getting, assuming you buy one that was made before 2009, you're getting backwards compatibility with the GameCube, and you can play Wii games. So I really don't see why people emulate those games if Wii's are just that cheap. And games aren't really that expensive. I mean, assuming you're not buying a really crappy game, the most expensive they'll be is 11 bucks for a Japanese only N64 game like Sin and Punishment that's been slightly translated so that English speaking players, like, they dub the cutscenes with English, and I believe they translate the menus. So I can understand them raising the prices for that because they did put work into it to translate it, but I really don't see why people pirate things below that. As far as the EverDrive goes, and I know he mentioned this, I do think that people who really want the unique experience, who are dedicated, will buy the original cartridges. But if you want to do that, I guess that's okay. I can see it for fan games, like NES fan games and stuff like that, or unfinished games, like if you want to play, like, I don't know, Star Fox 2 on the Super Nintendo, then that's fine, because that never came out, so it's kind of in the gray area. And once again, going over, GameCube and PS1 and PS2. GameCubes also are like 20 or 30 bucks used, I believe. PS2s are super cheap too. You can get them for like 20 to 30. And I was actually at a bookstore today. I saw they had a PlayStation 1, I don't know if it was the Slim or an original, for 8 bucks. And these all come with controllers and I believe memory cards, but maybe not. They had a GameCube for 20, which wasn't in the best condition, but it had everything except a memory card. And they had a Wii for 60 bucks. So, I mean, those prices are pretty freaking cheap, as you can basically get a Wii for the price of a full standard game, like, I don't know, like Call of Duty sells for. So, I don't know. Also, most GameCube games, I did see a comment that was the top comment in Review Tech USA's video about how GameCube games are so expensive, and if you go on Amazon, they are crazy. They sell, like, all the games I want are like $2,000 if I got all of them. It's only 27 games. Well, first off, Amazon, if you just look at the new prices, they're crazy because Amazon doesn't know what they're doing. Like, they're trying to sell the players. Oh wow, they're selling Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door on Amazon for $120. That's kind of a rare game, but the average price on eBay for that's about $40. I got mine for $30 at the flea market, but they're selling Mario Sunshine for $140. They just charge ridiculous prices. I don't know why. Their Super Nintendo games are off the wall too. They tried to sell Super Mario World, and this is directly from Amazon. The used prices are reasonable. Like Luigi's Mansion's $20 from the used seller. Sunshine's $27, and Paper Mario's actually $20, but there's probably shipping in that too. I believe they had Super Mario World for $650, which is ridiculous. I mean, that game you can find it easy for $20 or $10, and $8 on the Virtual Console. So, Sega platforms. I mean, Sega games. You couldn't really get them everywhere. I mean, Sonic 1's probably on like 25 different platforms. There's a Dreamcast collection for the Xbox. They have the adventure games for the GameCube. You can get Sonic and Sega games basically anywhere. I mean, they try and make as much cash as possible and to make sure that their games are, on every platform they could be on. Now, I'm going to talk about region locking because this kind of does factor in with piracy. I think that region locking for portable consoles should never happen unless a publisher, I think it should be like it is on the PS3, where if a publisher is making the exact same game like Persona 4 Arena for two regions and they know that people are going to import a ton, and it's coming out within a couple weeks of each other, then it's okay to region lock portable games. But I think generally it shouldn't happen because if you're on the go, like if you're on vacation in, say, Europe and you're an American, you're going to be in Europe for 2 or 3 weeks, so you might as well buy a 3DS game while you're there because you're probably going to finish the one you might get for the plane ride. Then you won't be able to play it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Digital games I don't think should be region locked either if they're specifically digital. And consoles, home consoles, I'm kind of iffy on. I think what the PS3 does is good, where specific publishers can ask for it. I feel like if Nintendo did that, that would be great, because then Nintendo can region lock all their games, and publishers like, I don't know, like Capcom, with the Monster Hunter series, they could not, and then we could import that game, but it's a little bit more iffy for me, at least, when you get to home consoles. But that about wraps it up. So what's your take on region locking, the error drives, and piracy? Or I should say ROM hacking, or whatever. So thanks for watching. Please remember to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.